So the quantitative variables are of two types, the interval variable and the ratio variable. In the interval variable, the order and the difference both is meaningful. The interval variable does not have an absolute zero. That means the variable can fall below zero, and it can be quantified in terms of range as well. For example, 0 to 10, 10 to 20. The interval variable can have a negative value, example temperature. But when I talk about ratio variable, it has a meaningful and an absolute zero. For example, 0 kilometers. When I am at North Pole, I am 0 kilometers away from North Pole. Another example is like ratio variable is net profit, which can be negatives, dissaving, saving and dissaving. But when I talk about interval variable, it would be sales. Continuing with the types of variable, this chart explains nothing but the quantitative and the qualitative variable. As the variables move from nominal to ordinal to interval to ratio, the number of statistics that can be applied to these variables keeps on increasing. Continuing with the types of variable, we have the ordinal variables, the categorical variables. In these only we have the dummy variables. So what is dummy variable? Is a type of variable that is derived from the binary, and it can attain two values, 0 and 1. But when I talk about male and female, so if I associate a value with it, 0 and female 1, so these variable implies presence or absence of a characteristic. For example, when I talk about dummy variables, male m is equals to 0, it implies presence of male, absence of female. But here it implies absence of male and presence of female. So this is the dummy variables. Moving on to the equational variables. We all are familiar with the equation. So this is my dependent variable. This is my independent variable. This is the intercept term, and this is the slope or the coefficient term. So what is the importance of this coefficient term? If there is one unit change in my independent variable, what would be the impact on the dependent variable is captured by this coefficient term. Now, this model is an explained model, but when there are some characteristics, some differences, some attributes which cannot be explained, we add an error term over here. So this part of my model becomes the explained part, and this part of my model becomes the unexplained part. So these were the basic concepts. Now moving on to the panel data. First of all, let us discuss the elements of panel data. These elements can be individually analyzed as well, but there are some drawbacks due to which we have to move on to the panel data. As from a government organization, we get various schemes, and if I get a scheme of tribals, now the empowerment for tribal scheme, I have to study, or we have to study, that should the scheme be provided with more funding or not. So I'll collect the data from the SERP, which is the Society of Elimination of Poverty, which collects the data for the tribal people for 10 years. Now, over these 10 years, what I would do is study that has the beneficiary outreach increased or the beneficiary outreach decreased. So if the beneficiary outreach has increased over time period, then we would grant the funding. If it is constant or it is not able to benefit the society, then we would not be so much contributing towards the funding. Now, this is one aspect, but what does time series does not cover is the cross-sectional aspect. That is, if I divide India into 4 parts, that is north, south, east and west. So as we know, the central eastern, central western parts, the beneficiary outreach is limited. So why is this beneficiary outreach limited? What should be done? Is the funding sole reason, or what are the other reasons? That can be studied with the help of cross section. But one point that I have to consider in cross sectional analysis, that it is studied at the same point of time, that is for 1 year itself. Now if I study this over only for 1 year, I do not get the results that could be possibly in 10 years. Now, any one of you may say that you can repeat the study 10 times for 10 different years. Yes, I can do that. I can repeat the study of cross-sectional analysis 10 times. But the question here arises that the trend analysis is not captured. Now, if I'm not able to capture the trend, this brings a drawback of the cross-sectional data. So next, what I move on to is the panel data analysis, which is nothing but the pooling of the observations. The cross-sectional observations are pooled over a period of time series so that we get a composite panel data. Now, all the biases or all the differences that can occur in time series and cross-sectional are removed with the help of panel data. Now, before this, there are some of the points that we need to take care in the panel data analysis. There are some prerequisites. The first prerequisite is the stationarity. When I talk about stationarity, I mean that over the time period, the characteristic, the statistical properties should not change. A girl should remain a girl over 10 years. A person belonging to tribal or the scheduled tribe should remain a tribal person over 10 years. So there are some statistics that can capture this effect. Those are means should remain constant over time. So this is something that is time invariant. The standard deviation and the cyclical variation, these three things should remain almost constant over a time period. And then there are various methods with which we can analyze that is there the existence of stationarity or not. The first method is the graphical method. When I talk about graphical method, if I see that the variations are many, so this data clearly lacks stationarity. But when I see a data that is this data has mean constant, but what about my standard deviation? The standard deviation is not constant over here. Similarly, the cyclical variations may or may not be constant. In this data, I have the mean constant, the cyclical variations constant, but this data may or may not be may or may not have the standard deviation constant. The technique to graphically represent this data to study the relation of the error term traveled across time is known as correlogram. So when I plot a data and I am able to draw a line which is parallel to my x-axis, which captures the time, and if I can obtain a series that has constant statistical properties, that technique is known as correlogram. We can have other techniques also. For example, moving averages. We can apply the technique of moving average to make the data stationarity, the difference technique. Now, if I take an example of the growth rate, which is not constant, but if I take the first difference of the growth rate, that might come out to be constant over time period. The statistical properties should remain constant over time period. Then there are methods like ARMA, auto-regressive moving average, which is just nothing but the first difference method, the time lag difference combined with the moving average difference. So these are some of the data techniques that can transform my non-stationary data to a stationary data. Coming on to the white noise. When my sample size is increased, that is when my n tends to infinity, the error term tends to be IID, which means independently and identically defined. So when my error term is independently and identically defined, the expected value of my error term tends to be 0. In simple language, white noise is something that is the presence of heteroscedasticity in the data when my sample size is increased. For example, if I start a machinery, there is ought to be some noise associated with that machinery. Over the time period, that noise is what I'm accustomed to. If a fan is moving in my room, then I know that its presence cannot be avoided, so we accept that presence. However, if there is some abnormal voices from my fan which can be detected, then that cannot be termed as a white noise. So these are the three things that we need to take care of while doing a panel data analysis. Now there are many models that can study or help in study or analyzing the panel data analysis. But the most popular one of them are the fixed effect model and the random effect model. When I talk about the fixed effect term, over the time, the change of the unobserved variable increase or decrease. The change in this model is fixed or predictable. Now I'll explain what is unobserved variable. So when I have an equation of yi is j is equals to beta naught plus beta 1 xi plus eij, then my xi's, that are the ids, can have relation to some other x's. Now, what do I mean by this? Suppose I have a class of 5 students. Now, these 5 students, I make a model that study hours are related to the results. With the increase in study hours, the result of the students increases. But the time invariant variable, which is unobserved, is the intelligence level of the student, which can be captured in my model. So that effect, when I keep that effect as a fixed effect, then we say the model is a fixed effect model. Another thing, another xi that can be related is the qualitative nature of the student. Some may know technique of study, some may not know techniques of study, but this can be captured in my model. When I omit such information, then my results are biased. Okay, let me tell you an example. Suppose I take a questionnaire and 51% of the respondents say that the petrol prices should be increased, and 49% of the people say that the petrol prices should remain constant or should not have any changes. So what would be my conclusions? Anyone? Okay, so my conclusions would be that okay, petrol prices should be increased, but when I get another information that 51% of the people who said that petrol prices should be increased belongs to the upper middle class or are having an income above 1 crore rupees. And the 49% of the people who said that the petrol prices should not be increased, they belonged to the category which does not have a very good socioeconomic status. They were of the middle income group or the lower income group. So as a welfare state, my policy would be the rich class already has an enough. So I should not increase the petrol prices considering the welfare models. So this effect, the unobserved effect, which can be captured and is not captured in the model, is the fixed effect. So my model would transform to Yij is equals to beta naught plus beta I xi plus fi plus EIJ. So this is the individual specific fixed effect that is captured. If I need to also capture the time specific fixed effect, then my model would change to Yij is equals to beta naught plus beta I xi plus Fi individual specific fixed effect plus Ti time specific fixed effect plus Eij, which is my error term. Continuing with the fixed effect, to explain further, the unobserved variables are allowed to have any association whatsoever with the observed variable. Fixed effect model control for or partial out the effect of time invariant variable with the time invariant effect. This is my fixed effect model. Coming on to the random effect model. Now, when over time, the relationship, the association with the unobserved variable is not present, or is if present is very difficult to capture, then we use the random effect model. What I mean by random effect model is that instead of predicting the results of 5 or 10 students, now I have to study only 2 students. So these are the two competing students. Sometimes A and B. A comes first, sometimes B comes first, then A, then B. B, A, B, A. So the competing position of these two students do not let me capture the individual specific aspect. So my fixed effect model results would not give me as conclusive or as important results as the random effect model. So I'll apply the random effect model. So here the unobserved variables are assumed to be uncorrelated or more strongly statistically independent of the all the observed variables. Now there may be a question that sometimes, suppose in the same model, I can capture the uh, individual specific fixed effect, but I am not able to capture the time specific fixed effect. So which model should I use? For these things, we have something that is called as mixed effect model. We can also apply the mixed effect model. Another question can be asked, like, if I don't know which model should I use the fixed effect model or should I use the random effect model? I'm unable to decide. I have such a large quantity of data or so many things to consider that it's very confusing. So there are some tests, specific tests like Hosman test, which helps us to identify that which model would be best. And there are command-based software we can actually tell that, okay, apply Hosman test, and in the background it would calculate all the calculations and give us a result. Okay, fixed effect model should be preferred or the random effect model should be preferred. So why should we really use the panel data analysis? Simply because the individual heterogeneity control, that is the time series and the cross-sectional data, does not control this. So we have a risk of bias. Whereas when I talk about the panel data, the risk of bias is removed. Next, we have got more information, more parameters, more degree of freedom. Then there would be less collinearity among the variables and more degrees of freedom and more efficiency. So this is all what is the panel data analysis all about. Now the next step that we have to do is using SPSS. So do you guys want me to continue with it, or do you want to take a 10 minutes break and then come back?
No, ma'am, continue.
Continue? Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
Just taking a moment.
And can you mute other mics so because there is so much screaming of kids on the background?
Is it possible that if I just restart my system and connect back, will that be fine?